Build your list by sharing your knowledge. Come on, let's talk about it.
Welcome to Newsletter Guru TV, your show with a boatload of smart marketing and business building advice and a little fun along the way.
This episode of Newsletter Guru TV is brought to you by Mars Training Program. 9 stealth strategies guaranteed to rapidly increase your repeat and referral business, even in a recession.
Hey everybody, it's Jim Palmer, the Newsletter Guru. I got a very special episode of Newsletter Guru TV for you today. You know, one of the greatest ways that you can build your list is to always put out good information. You know, I'm always talking about writing a book or going out and speaking. There's nothing as powerful as speaking from the stage to help build your credibility and give you presence. You know, it's not always easy to necessarily get on a plane or even find places to speak, but there are ways and strategies with the technology that's available to us today to help make that easy. One way is to do teleseminars, appear on somebody's phone interview where you're going to be the expert guest. But another way, which is being made very easily possible, that's not very good English, let me try that again. Another way, which thanks to technology is being made very easy, is doing Skype interviews. Now, my good friend Melanie Benson Strick, who has this awesome web TV show called New Era Success TV, she interviewed me just last week. And I thought the interview came out well. We shared some good nuggets, and she said, why don't you share it with your list? And I said, awesome, send me the footage. So my tip for you today is to find ways that you can be interviewed by other thought leaders so you can get in front of their list and share your expertise, share your knowledge, get people to help find out about you. So again, you can do that with teleseminars, you can do it through webinars obviously, and you can do it now with Skype videos, and there's some technology that makes it very easy. I'm going to put the link right on the bottom of this video, so I'll show you the technology that Melanie uses. Now, there's some other things that I'm going to point out to you as we get going. You definitely want to stage your scene, so you don't just want to flip up the camera. I've seen some people that do interviews and their office is a mess, or the camera's like shooting up at the ceiling and you're looking down, so you want to take some time and actually position yourself. You're going to see a few different things. The way I position, the way my camera is, my bookcase is behind me, but I make sure it's clean, uncluttered, and you'll actually see that I have my books strategically placed so people are looking. They can see the spines of the books in the bookcase, but they're actually seeing some of my books that are on these little stands, so that's a good visual. Another thing is, make sure you always look into the frame, look into the lens of the camera. It's very tempting to look down at the picture of the person that's interviewing you, but when people are watching the video, this is what they see. You know, they look like you're like this. And no, people want to make eye contact with you, so you'll see my trick for that. I'm going to point out what I do to make sure. I have multiple monitors on my desk, so I push the video of the person interviewing me off to the side, and I have this big red arrow that says look here pointing at my camera, so I'll show you that. So anyway, here's some of the interview that I did with Melanie, so you enjoy that, and I'll check you out on the other side.
Hey everyone, welcome. It's Melanie Benson Strick, host of New Era Success TV and America's leading authority on optimum performance. I've got with me today my really wonderful dear friend Jim Palmer, the Newsletter Guru.
Hey Melanie.
Hey, welcome. Oh, you're calling in, or I guess you're not really calling in. We're connecting all the way from Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia. Yeah.
Recently, Jim put together this amazing project, and something really amazing, tremendous, extraordinary has been coming out of it, and that is Jim is the co-author of a book called It's Okay to Be Scared, Never Give Up, and I feel very proud to be one of the contributors to this book. And Jim, why don't you tell us really quick what the book is about and how the book came to be, and I will share a little bit about what has been so impactful with the stories in this book.
The book has been just unbelievably moving to a lot of people, Melanie. You know, Martin Howie, the co-author, is a mutual great friend of ours. So Martin, you know, went through a very serious bout with cancer. I'm a cancer survivor myself, and on December 2nd, it was a Thursday, we were out in LA at an event, and we were talking. I was, Martin, you got to get your book out. You got to share your story. And he said, you write the book. You through a survivor. You went through a lot of stuff. And I said, why don't we just write the book together? But both of us were kind of busy. And I said, all right, we'll write the book together, but we got to get it done massive action style. And I said 60 days from that, literally that morning, that Thursday morning, December 2nd, Well, in fairness, Melanie, it was about 62 days, and the book was done, 240-page book. And basically, the kind of our thought process was we felt like, because we both travel a lot, go to different seminars, and there seems to be maybe kind of a little bit of a gloomy mood, a blue mood around the country, certainly with some entrepreneurs. There's always people doing really well, and there's always people that are just kind of, it's got a little bit of a haze there. And I think it's been that way for a good 2 to 3 years. And we said, we want to produce a book, a business book that's got a different message, one of hope and inspiration, but also make sure it also has some good business nuggets, some wisdom, marketing tips, things like that. So we thought between our 2 stories, we were also going to interview 9 highly successful entrepreneurs like yourself, and they were going to share, each of them, through a 30-minute interview. Everybody's going to get 30 minutes, and we're going to ask everybody the same 3 questions. What's the biggest challenge you've ever faced, either in your life or your business? How did you get through it? And then share a nugget, something that can help entrepreneurs and small business owners kind of make this their best year ever. And it was, first of all, from the very first interview to the last, it was like total validation all along the way. It's very exciting, and so that was kind of the genesis of the book.
Yeah, I think perspective, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that other people have challenges, and sometimes even like, how did someone overcome challenge? I shared about my very, very frustrating financial debacle and some of my, all the things that happened around that. I know other people talked about losing everything and starting over. I know both you and Jim have had cancer scares. I'm sorry, you and Martin have both had cancer scares that you had to face some of the most difficult times. And, what I love about this is that sometimes when we share our stories and we just have a conversation about what's real, and about what somebody's going through in that moment, it gives somebody else the courage to take another step towards the future that they want, to not give up on their dream, or to not give up just because stuff is falling apart and it feels like their world is melting all around them. So it's such an extraordinary book. And there's a couple of I haven't got through all the stories yet, but a couple of my favorites. I love, besides my own story, that is.
Which is awesome.
Of course.
But really, if you can hold that thought 1 second, because, Melanie, one of the common threads, I think, through maybe at least half the stories were of a financial nature. And, most entrepreneurs, I think, end up bootstrapping it from the time they start up until hopefully they get some momentum and some traction. And I know that because I know you've actually been doing some research and helping people through this, financial matters are one of the things that really grind people down. It makes them worry. They worry about money. They worry about debt. Everybody accumulates debt when you get started. And that actually, I forget the exact name of the book. What is it? 3 Feet from Gold, I think, something like that. Like, you never know how close you are to success. And so when you realize, yes, this guy, man, he had $100,000 credit card debt, and this person lost $200,000, whatever it is, you kind of look at your own story and go, okay, I just have to keep going until you hit momentum and inertia. And so that's really what we wanted to do, is just keep going.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things is the impact that we're having by each of us giving our time, and you and Martin putting so much time and energy into getting people's stories out there. We're also, well, I shouldn't say we, but the book is saving lives. And it's a really important thing to know that money is only one small piece of health and well-being. And oftentimes people are so focused on making the money that they're not paying attention to their well-being. So maybe you could share a little bit about some stories that you heard from people who got the book and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to do some things differently, and what that's been like.
Well, the timing for this interview was awesome because about 4 days ago, Martin and I were on the phone and we were discussing how the book was selling and different marketing strategies. Both of us said we're not really, our goal is not to have this bestseller and, just riches and all that. We really wanted to share the message, first of all, of the importance of early detection, but also the message of hope and inspiration, right? So that was really our motivating goal. But then, as a businessman, we started getting, okay, we've only sold this many. We immediately started shifting off our original goal a little bit in the conversation. The very next morning, Melanie, Saturday morning, I got a message from someone, and I could pretty much just tell you out of my head. It said, Jim, I wanted to share with you that my husband read your book. she ordered it and read it and then gave it to him. And he read the book, and he had been dealing with some shortness of breath and some minor chest pains now and again. But Martin's expression is, "Oh, I'm okay. Let's just go to lunch." Very much like myself, we just kind of ignore it like it's nothing. Well, reading the book caused this gentleman on Thursday to go to the doctor and got checked out. And the doctor says, "Thank God you're here. You're a stroke waiting to happen." So they run all these tests. He was in the hospital for a couple of days. He's home now. I was actually going back and forth with this woman, and he's on medication. And she told me, which almost brought me to tears, quite honestly, said, "Jim, if it wasn't for your book, I would have buried my husband before his 45th birthday."
Oh, my God.
And I was like, Melanie, I was like, oh my gosh, that's right. I was just like, wow. I was like, I immediately sent a message off to Martin. I shared that with him. I said, if we never sell one more book, our job is done. You know, it is because we know it's touched other people, other entrepreneurs, but for her to say that was just, I mean, it was just, I feel like I'm riding high a little bit. It's kind of, when you hear something like that, very moving. And I guess one of the things, since money is kind of a thread going through this interview, is don't be emotional about money. Money's a tool. I mean, money's important. You need it to live, but don't be emotionally tied for money. Recognize it for what it is. That's not a yardstick about, you know, your self-worth or anything like that. I mean, yes, we need to generate sales and things like that, but try not to be emotionally attached to money. And the other thing I'd say, you know, the other thing I'll say, Melanie, real quick, it just popped in my head for some reason, so I'll share, is, I know why, because I was actually coaching one of my clients today, and I said, you can't save your way out of debt. You know, so we were talking about, well, could you go back to your landlord and renegotiate rent? Could you do this? And all those things aren't going to equal into very much when you talk about the kind of debt this person has. And I said, you need to grow your way out of debt. You cannot save your way out of debt. So whatever savings you have or whatever you can muster, you've got to market very smartly and aggressively, but you've got to grow sales. When you start booming sales, the debt will actually go away. So that's the other thing, is you can't save your way out of debt. You have to grow your way out of debt.
Dang. So that's one last thing that we'll share with you. So Jim, where could somebody get their very own copy of, and you can see my book is all marked up here, It's Okay to Be Scared But Never Give Up?
Well, you can get it at itsokaytobescared.com, and there's we put together a whole bunch of really great bonuses, so you get instant download if you buy it there from our website. It's also available at Amazon, and if you prefer Kindle, you can get that at Amazon also. You'll still get the bonuses. The back page of the book lists the URL where you can get those, but if you want to get everything super quick and immediate, you can get it at itsokaytobescared.com.
Perfect, and that's it's okay to be scared.com instead of the okay like many of us Americans are used
right.
to.
And don't put the apostrophe in ITS.
There you go.
To be scared.
The URL is showing right here, so you can grab it there. And it's $14.95. It's a great gift to give to somebody who's maybe having a hard time, or pick up a box of books to give to your team, or maybe to an organization, or if you have gifts that you give to someone. You know, if we do nothing else, we're going to spark hope and inspiration for someone who's feeling challenged with their life right now, or maybe even better, we're going to save a life, and you can be part of that with us. So, Jim, thank you so much for coming and joining me today on the New Era Success TV.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, real quick.
This is one of those off the top of your head moments. I just today did an offer to the folks that are my clients, a coupon. I'd like to extend it to everybody that's watching New Era Success TV. If you go to itsokaytobescared.com, this won't work on Amazon, but if you go to itsokaytobescared.com and enter the coupon code SCARED, all right, SCARED, and just hit apply, it'll take $5 off the price of the book.
Oh, nice.
So that is it's an offer, but it's also for me to reprimand me for being focused on money a few days ago. That'll help me get the message out in a bigger way.
Awesome.
All right, hopefully you got some good nuggets of wisdom there from the interview, but also, as I pointed out at the very beginning, I showed you a couple strategies and techniques that you want to do to make sure if you're being interviewed on video to make sure that it goes well. If you've enjoyed this message, this lesson that I've shared with you this week, I'd appreciate it very much if you would share it with somebody else. Very easy to do if you're watching this on Facebook. Click the like button below. If you're watching this on Newsletter Guru TV, click the share button. It'll give you a very easy way to share this on Twitter or Facebook or Google+. No matter where you're watching it, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. I love getting the feedback. It's really awesome. It's been growing by leaps and bounds every single month, so I love hearing from you. Please share your thoughts and your comments. Go out there and make somebody's day just a little bit brighter. Random acts of kindness are going to make this world a much nicer place, all right? Bring some civility back to the world, as we talked about last week, and keep looking for ways, by the way, that you can add more value to what it is that you're doing for your customers, clients, your patients, your prospects, because when you add more value, wrap it up with world-class service, they're going to stay longer, and customers that stay longer end up spending more and referring more, and that is always a really good thing. All right. Until next week, this is Jim Palmer. Thank you for watching. By the way, I am committed to helping you build a more profitable business faster, so keep coming back to Newsletter Guru TV. I'll see you next week. Take care.